Oh shit.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another Suplex City Chats. I am, of course, Matty G, coming at you live from Isolation Station 1123. We are going back to Suplex City. Uh, we can't do this alone. I got the Dudleys with me right now and the villain, Mr. JB3. What's up tonight, brother?
Oh, man, just hanging, about to talk some wrestling.
Well, I'm sure we're going to talk about that. Mr. Jacob the Barber, how you doing?
Doing good. Ready to talk some wrestling.
And our resident villain, how you doing, brother?
Woo, I'm glad to be here, man, with people that I actually genuinely like. We might not agree on everything, but that's what we're here. We're going to do the great debate when it comes to everything and all about wrestling. Anything in the square circle. That's what we're about here.
Yeah, we're going all over the world with this one. So I guess we'll start here and just discuss, we'll jump straight into AEW. Eddie Kingston last night answered the TNT challenge. I kind of like the fact that with this, they took his strength and used it. He is a hardcore wrestler. He's a death match, icon. I kind of liked it. The thumbtack spot, I was honestly surprised that Cody took that spot.
Man, the thumbtack spot, that was the start of like, whoa, what is this show going to be? This show started out pretty different. You know what? I still like before. I got mad at Cody because he didn't defend the title every week, like you said. I'm still mad that he did the promo, but he could have just cut the promo off. And man, these matches, just have these kind of matches. And I know that you don't all agree on Eddie Kingston. I personally never seen him until the debut in AEW. I thought he was a fantastic promo. I'm sure that's a thing with him. He's probably a great promo. I mean, that's probably his thing. But in the ring, it was they made it no DQ for a reason. Sometimes wrestlers, when they can't do a certain type of match, they'll find a way to use weapons and gimmicks so that they can make the match entertaining and kind of hide the fact that they can't really do much of other things. Now, he still did pretty decent, but Cody can carry a lot of people to a pretty good match. So you got to give Cody a lot of credit. But yeah, it was awesome.
Okay, I'm jumping in since Jacob gave me that leeway. I'm going right in. Ooh, all right.
Hard to jump in when I didn't watch the show.
Oh, okay. You should have told me that, man. You could have winked. I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting.
My bad.
Shit. All right. So, oh my God, I got to start negative, right? Because
here we go.
It's just, and I love AEW. It's crazy. Like the more I watch, it's like there's always things you're like they could improve on, like the promo. Cody cut a promo, and it's like why do you have to cut a fucking promo before your match when nobody else is cutting a promo before they match, or we don't get any other promos setting up anything else, So Cody, and then Eddie Kingston comes out for all the hype that was online, speculation and shit. It's fucking Eddie Kingston. Like, who the fuck knows about Eddie Kingston? Like, I didn't know about him until he showed up at NWA. Like, I was already not watching Impact. When he showed up at NWA, he seemed like some fucking out of shape dude. He could talk. Yeah, he could talk on the mic. And he comes out and he's, disrespecting Arn Anderson. And I'm like, okay. I was like, people say, yeah, he could talk. It's like, I'm like, yeah, he's from New York. Like, everybody from New York talks the same way. Like, if I really want to get hood, I could talk like that. Like, it's not hard to talk, shit, saying like, oh, it's my turn. You already had yours. You shut up before I knock you out. Like, that's why I'm like, okay, this guy just came in. I don't remember Sonny Kiss fucking cutting a promo last week. And that motherfucker's been there for a year now. But Eddie Kingston comes in, he just cut a fucking promo. And then it's a fucking, it's a fucking, like hardcore fucking Extreme Rules match off the gate, which I'm like, wow, y'all giving this guy a lot of shit for somebody that's a fucking nobody. Like, realistically, like, he was in NWA. They didn't win the tag titles with him and Homicide. Maybe they did one week and then lost him to the fucking the fucking Midnight Express or whatever the fuck those old guys' names are. But I'm like, I didn't know him 2 years ago, and everybody's like, oh, he's a 20-year veteran. But can you really say that when nobody's seen him before? Like, you got to know this guy and be invested in him. For him to come in and it's Cody giving up a lot in matches, and the thumbtack spot and this and that, and it sucks because I like Cody a lot, but like when people comparing him to Jeff Jarrett a lot on the internet, I'm kind of starting to be like, okay, like Jeff Jarrett always a fucking bum to me. He's never, in my mind, he never should have been a world champion. But Cody, I'm like, yeah, he could be a world champion. But this type of stuff, I thought it was gonna be somebody pop in, everybody knew. But it's like, yeah, he was in NWA. Like, who the fuck cares, man? Like, Cody wasn't gonna lose the belt when they announced it was fucking out of.
What's up, Dose?
What up,
That's
Dope?
it.
Hey, guys. Sorry I'm late. I had some technical difficulties.
You're good. All right, you wanted to talk Eddie Kingston. The floor is yours, Dose.
I'm having trouble hearing everyone. I hear Haven.
Can you hear me?
It's up to
Yeah,
you. It's on you, brother. Evil Dose. We're talking about the first match, AEW TNT Challenge. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, I'm doing AEW? I thought someone else was doing AEW.
It's all good.
No,
we
we're
already said
all-
what we had to say about Eddie.
Yeah, I did want to talk about Kingston, but but I don't want to go on the AEW part. I just want to talk about Eddie in particular. A couple questions come up. Maybe JB3, you can hit them, and the group can chime in. But not to spoil too much, but Eddie Kingston answered Cody's open challenge, made said that Tony Khan invited him, that he was going to be paid to kick his ass. He asked Tony Khan if it could be basically a no disqualification match. Khan said, sure, if Cody says it's okay. And then Kingston cut a really great old school promo. I'm going to let JB3 handle that part of it in the show. But I wanted to pick up on some other things about Kingston, because I think it's really interesting that he's here. And unlike other talent from other places who came in, like Starks, we know his contract with NWA ended, and he opted not to re-sign. We know that Ziggy Dice asked for his release and got it. I don't know if he'll show up on AEW or not. We know that Pillman Jr. was able to work in AEW because he had one of the old MLW contracts, which didn't exclude AEW. It listed Impact and WWE and ROH and maybe I don't even think NWA. Anyway, so Kingston's there. So I don't know if he's not on a contract with NWA, if his contract is up, or if Billy said, hey, I can't pay you now. So if they'll pay you, it's fine. I give you permission. And it's interesting that they haven't announced his signing. So thoughts on that. But before we get into that, I think that if they add him, he's a great addition because he's a great talker. He's an old school talker. There aren't many like him anymore that keep it real like that. But I know that not everyone feels this way, but I think PNP is a far cry from being LAX. And if Kenny Omega is going to turn heel and Cody's going to turn heel, well, Jericho is the biggest name to turn face. And how's the way to do that? I think having Kingston tell PNP, you're wasting your time with this guy. He's made you guys look like comedy jokes. Go back to old school, and they turn on him and sort of reform LAX. Because you can keep your name from Impact. PNP was a choice. They could still go by LAX. So
they can't.
So I think that would be pretty cool. That's all I want to say about Kingston now. I don't want to steal anyone JB's thunder there.
No, you're good. I already said my piece about Eddie.
Now,
Oh, cool.
you were
We're gonna
talking
cut
about
our
his
piece.
contract.
Sorry, man.
He wrestled 2 weeks ago at the IWP No Holds Barred in New Jersey. So I don't think he has a contract with NWA still.
I'm
I'm never
sorry.
gonna say a wrestler shouldn't make. I just want to jump in. Because what Evil Dose was saying about Eddie Kingston and shit. You already heard my thoughts. I think the guy's a fucking jobber. I don't think that. I was surprised to learn his age. I thought he was older than me, and he's not. For being an out of shape fucking wrestler. But I don't think AEW needs to keep signing people just to talk. Like I don't see him becoming a fucking manager. That's a waste of money. Like Tony Khan's already spending a lot of money on people coming in just to talk. And this is in any other sport, like talking don't mean shit. Like what because he could cut a fucking promo. Like like seriously, man, that dude ain't doing shit but a promo. Like that ain't what you expect in a wrestler. You want everything else. So I'm just gonna say that.
Let's just say he spent money on worse things. Luther.
Oh,
That's another guy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Him and Luther need to get the fuck out of here. This money just being wasted.
Well, there's a whole bunch. I mean,
Kenny-
you could probably name 10 or 15 people that he doesn't need to spend money on, but I think as a manager he'd be okay because I agree. I don't buy him as a wrestler, which is why I want him as a spokesperson. But he's like an MVP in that he can take bumps also, and he can get involved in matches. Not like a Jimmy Hart that was always running around. So he, and he can take the pin every now and then or whatnot. But that's cool. We all don't have to agree. It would be a very boring show if everybody felt the same way.
yes, sir. All right. We're all gotten that part.
I can't, Matty. I can't hear you, man.
Tell him to hop back out and hop back in.
Maddie's saying hop back out and hop back in.
Okay.
Those because if you can't hear him, yeah, just jump back in.
All right, I will. That's what I'll do. All right. See you in a minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, all right, Villain or JB3, this was something you guys brought up. The Women's Tag Cup. What do y'all think about this?
I don't think much of it. I just want to see it unfold. This is going to be very short for me. I see the seeds they planted with the Nightmare Sisters. I think that they're going to try to do a women's tag division, but I mean, really, in reality, we just have to see what they can do. That's it. Because otherwise, there's nothing we can really expect.
I'm interested to see how it goes. I'm not a fan of their singles division right now, so jumping into a tag team thing, I'm skeptical on it, but good things could happen.
Yeah, I have to agree with both guys. Like the singles division, like I appreciate any women wrestling and doing their thing. I understand that maybe they should be doing a little more storytelling, and that's my biggest problem with Dynamite because this whole thing came out of nowhere. Like we had, they were on Dynamite and they had a promo, I believe, or was it this one? But they went to the Nightmare Sisters. They were training in the gym or training in the football field, and they're like, "Oh no!" And then now we're getting a tag team tournament. So it's like I kind of had a feeling when they started tagging up, like maybe it'll lead to something. I thought it might have been titles, but I'm looking around like there's no women's that are actually teams. So now you built a tag team tournament around one team. That's Brandy Rhodes and fucking her partner Ali. When Brandy is the chief operating officer, so this is to me is up in the air. I want to see what teams are announced. The pairings of the women, how the bracket's gonna go. If they're gonna do round robin, if they're just gonna do straight up, you lose a match, you're out the tournament. King of the Ring style, and just move it up. Where there's only 2 teams left. So to me, that's gonna be interesting. Is just seeing what teams are gonna be available, who meshes well, and Maybe it'll be a payoff for Brandy and Allie. So that to me is kind of like, wow, okay. They focus on the women's division, but they instead of focusing on just the singles, they really added this whole other layer, So we got to see what's going to happen if they're going to still do singles matches. Since Sheeta's the champion, now that they're going to focus on this tournament, so that to me is like I'm holding hope. I hope God bless them. I hope that this is going to be like something really great. So I'm optimistic.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely out of the blue, kind of like the best in the world tournament that just kind of randomly dropped that WWE did. I think they're trying to build the division because a lot of their singles competitors aren't there. Some of them, have a broken nose and a broken knee. So I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to get as many women involved as they can just to have something.
Brian, Matt, excuse me, Evil Dose, anything?
Oh, I wasn't sure if anyone else was going to talk. I came in late for the whole discussion, so I wasn't sure if you guys were already getting started with with this women's announcement. And from what I heard, Haven, yeah, you do have a point. They don't have, unfortunately, not a big, but not a solid roster, honestly, because from what we've seen on Dynamite, we've only seen maybe a couple women wrestle outside of Penelope Ford, Hikaru Shida, Nyla Rose, occasionally with Brandy and Allie. But also on Dark, they also have a lot of women wrestling there. I mean, not just not just Brandy and Allie doing their thing, but there's been other women that they've had, like Dimalanta, Christy Jane, I forget the woman's name, but she comes out with the Burn book. They're showing more women Jordan. They're showing more women on AEW Dark than they are on Dynamite. So, in my mind, I think this little this tag tournament is gonna be for those girls because, to be honest, they're the only ones. They're the only women on Dark that have like a lot of losses on their record. So this tournament could be a way to help them shine, but at the same time make them more household names. I mean, I highly doubt. I mean, look, you could be right. This could be something just to highlight Brandy and Allie as a team, but I think if this might be interesting. I mean, normally I'm always on the positives when it comes to AEW because they're still starting, but on this situation, it's just one of those times where maybe if we had pushed it back further down, like maybe for October or November instead of August, I would be more excited looking forward to this. But to be honest, having this before All Out does raise a lot of concerns. Now, I hope that this doesn't lead to a creation of a tag team championship in the women's division. Right now, let's just see if this is them testing the waters for tag team competition amongst the women's division. And then if it does raise interest, then possibly maybe by the end of the year or next year, we'll see a creation of women's tag team titles.
I want to go on.
I agree with a lot of that there. I mean, so many of their more talented women or more experienced women are on the shelf. So many are injured or out of country, just not available. It's a shame. I actually posted it in that group of men, 8 teams, and it was hard. And a lot of this is just guessing who's available, who's in country, who's healthy, who is a free agent or might have some availability based on very little. I don't know a whole lot of indie female wrestlers that are any good or available or whatnot. But this is what I mean. I don't think this is just for Allie and Brandy. One, because it's too obvious, and they have stayed away from too obvious. And I think that the story is Allie and Brandy not working out. So, so then QT and Dustin sort of have a little thing. And by that time, QT will hopefully be COVID-free, or hopefully he's already free and just waiting for quarantine. So anyway, Allie and Brandy, team 1. I think Ivelisse and Diamante are going to be team 2, even though they were adversaries last night. I think they'll have them work together as sort of a reluctant team, and I'd put them as a dark horse. This next one, I mean, I pulled a bunch of this out of my ass, but to be honest, but this next one is sort of my monster team, Abaddon and Nyla Rose, with, of course, Vicky and in their corner. And I'm liking that one. I have the Showgirls, Anna Jay and Penelope Ford. Because apparently Anna Jay is a heel now because she was recruited by the Dark Order, whether she's with them or not. I don't think that story was carried forward. If it has, I haven't seen it. But anyway, I put those two together. Swole, and I am putting her with Thunder Rosa. I know that she just started her. She's an owner in a woman's only promotion in Texas. They're having some shows. I know she's wrestling Jazz in a few weeks or months, maybe. I think a few weeks. And Jazz is one I didn't put on there, but she's in the conversation. And she's running like a weekend long or a 3-day wrestling school for $149.50. If you want to sign up, I don't know if it's women only, but I'm thinking that means that she's available and that she's either no longer with NWA or, I mean, if Eddie could be on there, how does Billy say no to anyone other than maybe Aldis and maybe Eli Drake? Which brings me to my next team, the NWA team, Camille and Allison Kay. Again, same fantasy thing as Thunder Rosa. You know, Billy says yes, or they're otherwise free. Then my sort of completely out of ass team, ODB and Danny Jordan. So you got big old power and then small with attitude, Danny Jordan. ODB is always a free agent and always needs to sell stuff from a food truck if she has a new one after the old one burned down. And then the last one, you have to have the champ in there. So I put Sheeta, and then I put the only free agent champion that I know it's available that isn't toxic or isn't completely toxic and sort of got a bad rap and is a mini indie darling, but Kelly Klein. She was concussed back in November. It's July. So Sheeta and Kelly Klein, the current AEW champion and the never defeated Ring of Honor World's Women Champion. They still haven't crowned another. So, so those are my 8 teams.
Did you finish the whole teams?
That's a tall order with Kelly Klein.
He booked the whole fucking tournament team?
Yeah, he straight up booked the tournament.
Yeah, he's booking teams, man.
Jesus Christ.
But
as soon as it says Jazz, I was like, no, Jazz is like fucking. Jazz is like 60 years old, man.
Well, Jazz didn't make my list. She's just out there.
Oh, I don't know. Holy shit.
I don't know.
If we all fantasy booked that tournament.
Jacob,
we'll be here for another hour.
Because you've been quiet this whole time.
Well, you've been talking this whole time. I've been listening.
I
didn't take the time to book 8 teams, so I was listening intently.
I'm done with my talking on this. So, what do you guys think?
I like all of those, but I would put Anna Jay and if she's healed, Chris Statlander together. That could be a good team too.
I think she is healed because even before the Dark Order, they were jumping back and forth their character. Like she'd either be fighting faces or heels on Dynamite or on Dark. So, but I think pairing her with the Dark Order is kind of solidifying that she's going to be a heel. But if she isn't, that is a good choice.
Because officially, we don't know what happened to Anna Jay. She walked off with the Dark Order, and that's all we've seen of that.
True.
Yeah, I just don't want to fantasy book this because there's so many women, and it's like there's just so many teams that's going to be there, and you know there's a lot of people like we never went back to the chick that shaved her head, you know, when she was supposed to be Brandy Luther, you know, when they had that fucking shitty ass team, and then they dropped that thing. You know, we never got back to her. There's just so many women, so I don't want to fantasy book.
Oh yeah, Mel.
I'm just gonna wait.
Forgot about her.
I'm just gonna wait until they announce things. You know, that's why I can't fantasy book this because that'd just be wrong. You know, it'll just be fan service. You know, it'll just be doing your own. There's just too many. There's just way too many stuff, especially when stuff we know that's happened right now that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's talk about
I like
this.
fantasy booking.
All right.
Me too. Me too. I'll do that in the game though. I don't want. I do that all the time in the game. I love that shit.
All right. So we got Darby Allin and Cage and Starks. Cage and Starks whooped Darby's ass. Mox comes out with a barbed wire bat that he used on Kenny Omega. Take it away. Somebody talk.
Okay, I'll jump in real quick. I'll jump in I'll jump in real quick. I'm only gonna take up 2 minutes. This is when AEW needs to start doing promos or showing little video packages. You could do a 30-second video package of what happened on Dark to show that Cage and Starks had a little alignment the night before. We didn't get none of that, So, they could have said that Taz was there. They could have just said something for 20 seconds in a little video package and then did this. But yeah, Starks now is with Taz's team. It looks like. It hasn't been like announced yet, but I think Taz, since they all were chilling together, I think it shows that Taz, Brian Cage, and Starks are going to be down with each other. And now we see Moxley as the champion, maybe not focusing on a title match right now. It seems like maybe a tag team match with Darby Allin. So to me, I thought it was okay. It's fine. For the way the world is right now, like this tag team stuff is okay. I don't need a one-on-one title match because we don't really have a clear number one contender. So I thought this is okay, for what it was.
Hey, Villain, do you remember that didn't Moxley say he was going to make a big announcement last night? I don't remember hearing any big announcement from him.
We did talk about that before the stream, but yeah, that's why I'm like, I didn't understand it. Some people were saying that maybe he was talking about the Eddie Kingston stuff, which I don't see how. I don't see any way that Eddie Kingston's debut and Moxley's message were interlinked. I don't see any way that was interlinked.
Say that he's giving Cage a rematch.
I don't know.
Because why else would he talk about next time I'm not going to let go? I don't know.
I think that's one of the reasons why we have this little alliance with Darby Allin. This is kind of to help build something to where Cage does get his rematch. Because let's be honest, after Mox won the championship from Jericho, anyone who normally his number one contenders were either people who attacked him from behind or, because let's be honest, with Hager just stepped up to challenge. And then with Brody Lee, he just attacked him and then took the championship, made himself number one contender. And then with Cage, even though he earned it in a ladders match, there was no real fight to win, or at least no storytelling to build a number one contender. So even though to me this segment I was not a fan of, because to be honest, what was the point of having Darby Allin coming out there if he was just going to get his ass kicked? I mean, obviously he was going to get his ass kicked, but yeah, I agreed with Haven. There needed to be at least maybe like a minute or so, just a quick little highlight of Dark. And I thought there was one, but it was mainly just showing Ricky Starks just attacking Darby Allin, and then everything was just left to the like it was supposed to be for the audience. Like, oh, if you watched Dark last night, you already know. But then to all of us who may have missed Dark and go, no. Starks attacks Allin. That's it. It doesn't mean he's allied himself with Taz. And then, of course, this whole thing solidified it. So that's why I'm thinking with this whole thing with Darby, Knox. I say Knox. I meant Cage. Darby, Cage, Starks, and Moxley. It's meant to help maybe build a story to where Taz will try to egg Mox on to either give another shot, or Mox, either he gets his ass kicked by Cage and Starks so many times, he just goes, you know what, screw it. Normally, I would wait for Tony Khan or someone to come to me and tell me I'm a number one contender, but instead, I'm going to challenge you yourself. Maybe there's going to be a story building out of this.
Okay, but then if that was the case, why did earlier in the day he posted a picture of him and his little laggy in New Japan with the U.S. title over his shoulders, saying, "I've got a big announcement, and I have to bring him too."
Maybe it was just for New Japan. I really don't. This is the one
No,
where I'm kind
this
of
was
off.
for AEW. This was for AEW, not New Japan.
Hey, the way I
it's gonna be
I'm gonna go live.
Dynamite or
I'm gonna go live.
Okay.
the way I understood it was he was being sarcastic when he posted the picture of that guy. That's the way I took it when I seen it. And as far as Darby and this whole thing goes, I'll just say my piece now. Darby's a fantastic wrestler. Ricky Starks is a fantastic wrestler. They should feud. If and when Cage is in a match with Darby Allin, I don't even mind if they have a match. Just please, I do not want to see Brian Cage sell for Darby Allin. I won't believe it unless they somehow miraculously find a way for me to believe that Darby Allin's 115-pound body can hurt Brian Cage's 552 pounds of muscle. Sarcasm, and I'm just saying, like, yeah,
Maybe a weapons match.
I don't want to see
Your
it. I
weapons
don't want to see himself.
weapons match only.
Like, what is he going to do? Drop him? I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like Darby Allin, but the idea of a Darby Allin versus Brian Cage just doesn't excite me. Like if they're in the ring, it's got to be a 3-minute squash. Like there's no real reason to believe Darby Allin has a chance against Brian Cage.
Yeah,
I don't think AEW does it that way. Actually, I'm not even sure WWE does anymore. Size isn't supposed to matter. I'm probably the oldest one here. I'm sure I'm the oldest one here, and I'm way too old to still be watching wrestling. And I'm a sizeist, so I'm the one that's always getting shit on by younger fans about that kind of thing. You know, why do you care about that? So I don't know that they'll see it that way. I do think that Ricky Starks is there to, for there to be maybe like a couple tag team matches, and maybe him versus Darby first before it gets to Cage and Darby. I'm not sure. I mean, I agree with the visual. I just don't know that wrestling works that way anymore.
yeah. What would be cool is maybe have Cage just start destroying Darby if it works. Have Darby take out Starks. And a couple of weeks later, maybe have Darby versus Cage, and Cage just start destroying him, and have Mox come out with his bat, maybe take one swing at Cage, and have them run off to lead to the rematch.
I'm gonna say something. There's with these guys in AEW, there's one thing they're missing. They're short. They're short. There's one thing that they're missing more than anything else. It's muscle. They need to hit the damn gym.
Big sweat guys.
I'm just saying, look, there's only really one way. Look, Rey Mysterio was great. He was a cruiserweight in WCW. You know what I'm saying? He used to just, that's what he did great against cruiserweights, against luchadors that were close to his size, or even, small guys could be his base, whatever. But when he got to the WWE, he started, feuding with a lot of bigger guys. How was that believable? Because he got freaking jacked. Look at Finn Balor. He's jacked. Look at Tommaso Ciampa. Jacked.
Facts.
You got Darby Allin. He looks like a toothpick. You got what's his face? Marco Stunt. He looks like a 3-year-old.
Or Jungle Boy,
Jungle Boy is decent. He's got some. You could tell he's got some tone. He's got a body. And Jungle Boy he's a little bit more believable because he's a little bit bigger, a little bit more built. That's all I'm asking. Marco Stunt, people will look. Yes, he can do the moves. Fine. Great. You can do the moves, and he's good at them. Great. What if he was a little jacked, like tiny person? What if the dude just built
like a little more definition in his upper body, if that's what you mean?
Yeah. You want to know, like, check this out. You want to know what young guy went to AEW, or what super short, small guy went to AEW and didn't nobody say shit about when he started leading a whole faction? His name is Pac, because that dude is shredded and no one would say a word about him because of that reason why. So Darby Allin, Marco Stunt, Johnny Gargano, Adam fucking Cole, as good as he is, hit the fucking gym, man. Start getting some get some mass and some definition. Like, it'll work wonders. Finn Balor was
like his chin definitely got slimmer, like from his Ring of Honor days.
You can even put the Bucks in that category. They're kind of, they're kind of little too.
They used to be smaller. Matt has gotten bigger, but it's muscles, man.
But I think if you got, Marco Stunt a little bit more yoked, the whole Mr. Fun Size persona he's playing doesn't work.
But that's a stupid look. Mr. Fun Size, what is that going to do? He's like, literally, look at him. And then these wrestlers are selling for him. They're acting like his moves hurt them. That's like play wrestling with your kid. And they throw a little punch at you and you go, oh, and you fall down. That's what they're doing on national TV.
I don't want to talk about that, man.
I'm sorry. Michael Scott is talented, but the dude is like, dude, he needs something else.
Right. Bro, I don't want to talk about wrestling with your kid because I took a chop to the nuts today, and I don't want to talk about that.
I'm just saying.
You just did on air, so.
Well, yeah, I know. I'll put it out there. That's all right.
How was it, man?
Hit the gym.
I understand where you're coming from, JB3. I mean, with the size of these guys, what AEW is always trying to do is that when you have size matched up with each other, they always try to find these wrestlers to have like an edge over each other. I mean, like with Darby Allin. I mean, he's like, he's very skinny dude, almost like a bit of a 2x4 plank. But what he makes up for in that, he always makes up for in his his daredevil-esque attitude. Every time I see him do a plunge off the rope, when he's like doing a half full sprint, diving from the lower ropes onto his opponents, looks like he's a freaking javelin about to pierce somebody in the shoulder. And with Marco Stunt, they mainly, with him, it's mainly the comedy aspects. But the only time they use him right is when you see him in tag matches, or he's either at the side providing the distractions, or kind of like what we just saw with Les Sex Gods and Jurassic Park. These small guys are always trying to find a way to compensate.
They want to put him up against Brody Lee in a singles match, and bro, they can do all those things with muscles. He can do all those daredevilish things with muscles. And I guarantee you one thing, if he put on 30 pounds of muscles and he did all those things against Brian Cage, it might be a little bit more believable. He can be that persona. He can do that. He can do all of that with muscles.
That's facts. All right, guys, let's move on. JB3, I'm going to pull this up and I'm going to sit back, and this is your segment. Take it away, homie.
Is it about Chris Jericho?
It is.
So yeah, I'll go ahead and say it. Chris Jericho. Disclaimer: he took the 4th spot on my personal Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling. I love Jericho. I think he's transcended the business. It's about time for him to transcend something else, though. He needs to stop main event. I'm sick and tired of seeing Chris Jericho in the main event. I get it. He's talented. He can talk. He's really good on commentary. But Father Time catches up to every man. He is getting old. He is getting a little bit more out of shape. He can still do the lion saw perfectly, though. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with seeing him wrestle. I don't want to see him in the main event anymore. I'm kind of done with him in the main event. I kind of want him to go a little bit further down. Like, I don't want him to start getting to the point where he's main eventing over title matches just because he's Chris Jericho. Like, you had Cody defend the title in the opening match, which, curtain jerking, fine. It's cool. Some people love it. But then when you have Chris Jericho in the main event, it's almost like Chris Jericho's bigger than the TNT title? Really? Like, I want to get to the point where Chris Jericho is like not as big as the TNT title. I want Chris Jericho to move down. And then as far as Sammy goes, Sammy, that's polarizing, I guess, right now. But all controversy aside, I don't feel like the Inner Circle was the Inner Circle without Sammy. And I think to add onto something that I believe it was you, Dose. It might have been someone else was saying to end this off with. If Eddie Kingston, yeah, it was you, Dose. If Eddie Kingston did recruit PNP, I think I'd want to see Sammy also go with them. I think Sammy could be the catalyst to make Jericho go face because Jericho's treated Sammy like a son. If Sammy turned on Jericho, that'd make Jericho like a really, really good guy. And then they can transition to the middle of the card. And then, because Jericho, he's gonna be the the guy that's the big star name just to appear and just to do things here and there, not the main guy anymore, not the demo god. Like, all right, but yeah, so that's kind of all I had to say. Jericho got to put down Sammy, completes the group, but I'd really like to see that turn. That'd be cool if Sammy went. Sammy's the future.
All right, I'll go next. The match, it was what it was. It billed the next week. Like the 5-on-5, that's all that whole match was. Was it good? Sure. I was watching this with JB3 actually, and my kid. When Sammy came out masked, and he just, I was like, "What the fuck am I watching?" And then all of a sudden, he pulled the mask off, and it was Sammy. And you're right, it felt whole. Like he fucked up. It was 2016. He's been off for a fucking month, exactly 30 days, I mind you. All his pay went to the women's center that he was doing counseling at. So he's done the crime. He's paid it. Move on. I like the idea of the Jericho face turn and them dropping to the bottom of the card because you're right. Let's run this with them and the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy, and then let's drop them down the card. Put, you've got your big guys, you've got Mox, you've got Cage, and your younger guys. Move them up, drop Jericho 2 slots, 2 matches. I like that idea.
All right. I got to say, on this topic, everybody that's talked before me, so disrespectful. This was the main event of that evening. So you guys, we're going to talk about shit that wasn't even the main event after this segment. None of you guys pointed out the interview that Inner Circle had. That was comedy gold. None of you guys talked about the match that we witnessed.
Just real
nobody
quick.
Talked about this. No. I'm talking.
I gotta clear that up for me, bro, because my topic was not the match. My topic was not the match. Just to clear that up. I don't care about the match. I wanted to talk about Chris Jericho, but my bad if I interrupt. I just want to clear that up. I digress. You continue, man.
I'm saying when people watching us live, they see the subject, Jericho and Inner Circle, reunion, Inner Circle reunion. And you didn't give them the visuals. None of you guys talked about, the whole thing about Chris Jericho's jacket when he was doing the interview. He's going to have a match with Jake Hager. Nobody mentioned who his partner was for this match, So he had a tag team match at the main event this evening. And everybody wants to bitch because Chris Jericho's main event. It's not for a title. It's on random TV. There's 52 weeks out the year. And, of course, Chris Jericho's in the main event because he's in a tag team match with our boy, Jake Hager. He's dominating MMA, whatever the fuck the shit he's in. He hasn't lost. They had a good match. Kicked ass against Jurassic Express. We had Marco Stunt doing bullshit in the match. We had Pride and Powerful out there. There's so much stuff to unpack in this match. You guys just want to say Chris Jericho ain't what you guys like right now. But this shit was amazing to me. We had the interview. The joke at the end was amazing. Punchline, fucking 100%. And then we had the match, and then we had the reveal after that, that they're gonna have a 5-on-5 next week. So this thing was it was everything we wanted, man. I like Jurassic Express. They did cool stuff. Chris Jericho and Jake Hager won the match at the end. We had the surprise reveal, and the Inner Circle was whole again. I can't do play-by-play because we've been on this match a lot, and we still got two other good brothers who want to talk about this shit. But there's a lot of impact here, and this shit was amazing. I dug it.
Man, I thought the whole show was great. I thought this was maybe the best Dynamite from top to bottom since the beginning, without question. So I mean, I love how Jericho's jacket went from $7,000 to $70,000. That's just amazing inflation. I thought the whole thing with Sammy was great, and with Serpentico or whatever. He served his 30-day suspension. Fine. I'm sure we don't want to talk about that. So again, more whatever. But I thought the whole show was great. I mean, I missed entirely that the Moxley announcement thing. Somebody posted it on Facebook, and I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm much better about complaining than I am about praising. I thought it was great. The only thing I didn't like in the show was the Dark Order segment when, Brody Lee walks Colt Cabana back to the back. All right, I get that. But 10 just seems to disappear, and 5 never recovered from a power bomb and disappeared. So it was 4-on-4. So 5 and 10, I guess, went shopping to the 5 and dime. But aside from that, I thought it was great.
Well, doesn't Ken have a broken arm still? Didn't he? He broke his arm a few weeks ago. So last I saw, he had his arm in slings. So maybe they did that.
It's probably still in a sling. It's probably still in a sling, mostly because that arm was broken because it was a build-up between Mox and Lee. But before we start moving forward, look, there's not much I want to talk about the main event than these guys have already done. I do agree with you, JB3. One thing with Jericho is that I do understand, him main eventing at this point, he doesn't need to do it anymore because there's more stars coming up. And when Sammy Guevara returned.
Hello.
When Sammy Guevara.
La Sicaria.
Nice to meet you.
She has an open challenge to you, Diamante.
Hello.
She just got home. Sorry, guys.
No, there's no worries. No worries.
That's fine.
Like what you were saying, JB3. Sammy Guevara, when he did return, it did feel like the Inner Circle was kind of like back together. Because as much as I like Santana Ortiz's Pride and Powerful, though, it was pretty clear that Sammy Guevara was meant to be the star of Inner Circle. From his matches to his personality. And to be honest, when it came to Inner Circle itself, Pride and Powerful were being left behind while they were pushing up Guevara and Hager. So if Kingston ever did form his own little group and Pride and Powerful went with them, it really, personally, I don't think it would have changed anything of the dynamic of the Inner Circle. Because I hate to say it, Pride and Powerful, other than having some great moments of comedic genius in a few matches, they didn't add much to the Inner Circle. Like what Jericho's game plan was when they first formed. And now Guevara being back, possibly we'll get to see more of a good dynamic between Pride and Powerful and Sam and Guevara moving forward, especially maybe with this 5-man tourney coming up. Because let's be honest, every time the Inner Circle did backstage interviews, it was clear that Guevara and Pride and Powerful had the better dynamic between all of them. As much as I like Guevara and Jericho, it was clear that Pride and Powerful and Guevara, they're more like equals amongst each other instead of the whole father-son dynamic between Guevara and Jericho.
Okay. Jacob, what do you got, brother?
I think that what happened was two things. COVID, which derailed what I think was a pretty obvious gearing towards trios champions. They were building that Death Triangle. You had the Jurassic Express. SCU is a 3-man group. You had Best Friends and Orange Cassidy. It was PNP and Hager. So you saw these 3-man groups getting together, and I don't think that was an accident. I think that they were going to, try and move that along. Instead, I think they had to double back and do the TNT title instead, which I think is why it was maybe incomplete. I said two things. I can't remember what the other thing is, but so it probably wasn't.
Yeah, we were
that.
talking about the Jericho stuff at the end. That's why I was asking Jacob. We're talking about just the Jericho Inner Circle reunion thing. That's what people want to focus on. Was the stuff we're talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it
It's
was.
mainly what Jimmy 3 wanted to talk about itself, because let's be honest, there's still a lot that we all need to talk about, not just about Dynamite, but there's also other things we need to talk about. I mean, like NXT itself.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just
No, and Villain, I wholeheartedly agree. But bro, you want to talk about this match? Don't forget, coming up pretty soon, we do have our matches and moments of the week, so you absolutely can drop it there, bro. I got you.
No, I know. I messed that up. My fault.
Oh, you're good. We're good. Jacob, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, no. I think everything's been said. I'm glad Sammy Guevara is back. Like he's been one of my favorites in AEW for quite some time now, and I'm ready to see him return to the ring. He's good. He can go. I'd like to see him maybe answer, the open challenge for the TNT title one of these weeks. I think he and Cody could have a great match. I'm still on the Jericho and Guevara for tag champs bandwagon too. I'd like to see that, but I don't know if we'll get that. But yeah, no, the inner circle's complete again, and I think it's going to be good for AEW going forward. I'm really looking forward to that 5-on-5 next week.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting week. All right, gents. Mr. Orange Cassidy, this was... Oh, no. Yeah, this was... I don't know. Fuck it. Let's go to Impact. What do you want to talk about Impact, brother? The floor is yours.
Okay. I'm not going to review the entire show, but it was... But one thing's for sure. Slammiversary was a great event, and Impact, the Impact afterwards, it did a good job recapping the show, but at the same time still moving forward with like the program, what they're going to do. I see my highlights of the program was the match between Chris Bay and Willie Mack. I also enjoyed the recap. Their highlight. They looked into the past of Eddie Edwards winning his first championship off of Bobby Lashley. Just made me remember why Bobby Lashley is such a dangerous athlete and how bad that the other company has screwed him up so badly. But this show was all about highlighting the Slammiversary, but also making way for the future. And it was clear that every match, every segment there was all talking about Impact moving forward. How Slammiversary, was a great historic night. We are now here to make moves. And the Chris Bay Willie Mack match. That was incredible. I love how it touched on to what JB3 was talking about when you get guys with bigger muscles, bigger size and definition, and how when they can put on, and you can see like some really good matches when you start sizing people up. And Willie Mack, despite his size, he has proved every time he's wrestling, no matter what, he pulls off what he does. Every time he does a moonsault, I swear to God, I keep thinking that all it takes is maybe like a half speed for his knees to, instead of hit the mat, it's gonna like land on somebody's chest. But because of Willie Mack's size and how he's able to work, how he knows his own body, every time he does a senton, a backflip, a moonsault, or even over the top rope plancha, it's beautiful. It's a great thing. And Chris Bay could not understand this dude from every time I watch Impact, but I like his attitude, I like his style, I like how he's calling himself the Finesse X champion instead of the X Division champion, really trying to bring some more level to that X Division belt. And one thing's for sure that Impact has always highlighted well is their X Division, and with Chris Bay, I do see him as that swarmy, cocky heel to hold that X Division moving down the line. I know I definitely want to talk about the tag team match, but I want to touch on that later. And a few segments, we had the Good Brothers talking. Another former WWE wrestler is now part of Impact, which is the former I forgot his name. He teamed with Zack Ryder. Kurt Hawkins. He's now a part of Impact. Huh?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Kurt Hawkins. He's now a part of Impact Wrestling, and from what that little reel showed, it looks like he's going to start wrestling with a mask on. Even though we already know what his face looks like, it's mostly just going to be covering the lower half of his face. So that's got me slightly intrigued. And also, what Impact also does great, they take wrestlers who have been severely misused, have been terribly mistreated, and they give them a platform to where they shine best. So we saw with Eric Young how he is taking his psychotic edge of what he did with Sanity, and he's bringing that to Impact. EC3, all those promos he has done is building to something great to where he attacked Moose. And also with Deonna Purrazzo, that she never got her chance to shine in NXT, and she was only used as fodder on Main Event and Raw. She's now Impact Women's Champion, and she's going to be showing, and I believe she's going to have great technical matches. And always, my favorite wrestler, female wrestler, my hardcore crush, Haven knows, Kylie Ray, is also on a platform. She wasn't part of WWE, but ever since she joined Impact, she has been like a fresh injection into the knockouts division. I want to keep rambling on more and more, but I want to hold off here and just end off to where with the women knockouts division, they have been using their wrestlers perfectly well. They've always had great matchups, and also at the same time, they always change out the sizes between the wrestlers of Havoc, with Kiera Hogan, with Taya Valkyrie, Rosemary, Sue Young, or now Susie. So there's always like a fresh matchup with amongst those knockouts.
I think it's a shame.
And I like the fact, though, that little hint that Susie could be
performing. I'm sorry, Jacob, you were going to say something?
I was going to say, I think it's a shame that the Machine Guns are just now in their second title reign in TNA, because I thought they were one of the best tag teams in TNA when they were with them, and the fact that they only were a one-time TNA tag team champions was mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see them holding the belts again.
My thought on this is that
if I'm from
either AEW or WWE,
what I was going to say is I like that little,
and you brought in relatively new people. I defer to you, Matty.
Oh, what I was going to say is I like the little fact that we saw Susie, just that little sprinkle of Susie changing. I love that little pinch of salt, and that was all I wanted to say. So, all right, guys, moving on. North, so we got, a little bit of preview of, oh, shit, clicking too much. There we go. Fuck me running. Hold on. There we go. We saw that William Regal had a major announcement coming up on NXT this week. This wasn't William Regal's announcement. This was Keith Lee's announcement that he's dropping the North American title. And then we're going to have multiple three-way matches leading up to a ladder match at NXT TakeOver XXX, Triple XL. I still think Finn Balor is going to pick it up in the end. I didn't get to watch all of this, so somebody else can kind of fill it in.
I'm not gonna fill it in. I'm just gonna tell you what I've seen. I kind of called Keith Lee dropping that title, because I didn't think he was gonna have two titles. So this was pretty cool. We're gonna have some three-way matches that seem like they're gonna be fucking hella good. Like all these matches that we've seen one match that was amazing. Next week's match, I think hands down, no matter what wrestling you're watching, I think that match next week, the three-way match, is going to be the match of the week. Like, I'm not going to fantasy book shit because, I know we got a lot of people here that want to talk about it. But I think this dropping the North American Championship, having a little kind of semi-tournament, giving all these guys a chance to shine. We're gonna get a pay-per-view match, a match at a pay-per-view for, the next guy that's gonna reclaim that title. I think this is gonna be amazing. It's gonna be. I can't wait to see this. This really got me excited. The match we had this week was amazing. Next week, I think it's gonna be even more bonkers, and then the match after that, and then the pay-per-view. Woo! I'm excited for this. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah, NXT definitely has that, ROH in like the mid 2000s feel to it. It's like dark, it's gritty, it's long matches, technical matches. I know it's not as many young stars as it once was, but it still sort of feels that way.
Jacob, you got any thoughts on it?
Part of me was hoping Keith Lee wouldn't vacate the title, just because that seems to be the obvious choice when someone's double belted. Is, well, I'm going to keep the main title and I'm going to vacate the other one. I thought it would have been cool. Somebody, I think it was, I don't know who it was, but somebody said, triple threat match, 2 falls. First fall North American, second fall the NXT title. I thought that would have been a great idea, but the fact that we are getting these triple threat matches leading up to a ladder match, it's going to give so many people a chance to shine. Who had Bronson Reed winning this match? With Johnny Gargano and Roderick Strong, my money would have been on Gargano the whole time. But the fact that Reed won, it makes me wonder who is going to win next week, because I think the smart money would be on Finn Balor. He's been talking about the North American title for quite some time now. The smart money would be on him. But Dexter Lumis or Timothy Thatcher, I could see either one of them winning, and I wouldn't be surprised. So I think this is a great decision, and I'm looking forward to these triple threat matches, and the ladder match at TakeOver should be crazy.
I definitely agree as well. I agree. I definitely did not see Bronson Reed winning. I thought since there's like 5 spots available, it was clear to me that they may try to do like what they did with the women's ladder match, where they're going to have a battle royal for the last spot, or it's going to be another like a last chance fatal 4-way, or maybe elimination fatal 4-way. But with Bronson Reed winning, it does open a lot of avenues, especially for Johnny Gargano. I mean, maybe he unleashes, maybe he's going to become more desperate to get back in there, or with Roderick Strong. I mean, to me, it feels more Johnny Gargano's the one who's going to take the desperate route to go for it. But let's not fantasy book right now, because we'd be here all day. And also the smart money does feel like Finn Balor is the one to win. But I think with Bronson Reed winning does give you the opportunity that Thatcher can nab that second spot over Balor, or Lumis can nab that second spot as well. But personally, for me, personally right now, I feel like Balor, he's a man not only on a mission, but he's a man gunning for a championship he has not won in the NXT. And until this whole situation with NXT UK is taken care of, his whole little feud with Walter for the UK championship is on hold.
Yeah. I
think if you have a ladder match, you need the high flyer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the big guys have shown that they can be just as nasty in ladder matches. Not high flying wise, but they can definitely take more of the brutal punishment from the ladders they set up.
It's true.
Well, I just don't want to see that spot again where, like they did with Otis, where he steps on the ladder and it breaks.
Well, it depends on the ladders they designed for those matches to break. I mean, when they did ladder match to crown the first ever NXT North American champion, it was clear that with the big guys like oh my god, I forgot, he's already gone, but bald-headed Lars Sullivan, yeah, with Lars Sullivan and with Killian Dane, those men could have easily just gripped the ladder too tight and it would have broken. So the fact that those guys were able to do the spots they did on those ladders was one thing, but that's just probably a difference to how NXT sets up their matches and for the objects compared to the main roster.
All right. So I want to talk about something in New Japan real quick. It was said by Hichika Okada. He said, talking to Tokyo Sports, they asked him about getting back in the title picture, and he said, honestly, I can't really see it right now. The main factor is the conflict between LIJ and Bullet Club was immediately linked to the double title. I doubt the current situation as Los Eagles, Inner Riot, do whatever you want. It would be nice if the fans would be interested. I'm not interested at all. The belts involved are the poorest. Well, even if the value goes down, I'll raise it. So please do whatever you want right now. I feel that the value of the heavyweight belt has been halved when two titles were won together. And that's why if Mr. Naito, who won the Double Crown first, was able to show something, he should have shown it. I lost because I couldn't do it. The biggest prize in the industry, the IWGP heavyweight, seems to be far from its ideal. I don't mean to complain. In my opinion, that is the most bullshit thing he could have said. He basically bagged on something that he has had for many, many years. He's had 7-star matches because of it. In my opinion, the IWGP heavyweight has had the greatest match of all time behind it. That was the 2 out of 3 falls between him and Omega at Dominion. So I think it's kind of bullshit, the answer. What do you guys think?
JB3.
I don't know where the fuck that dude is.
Sorry, y'all. I had to go take care of my kids, and I had to get me some food. I'm so sorry. What's up? Let's see. Fuck Okada. He want to talk shit? Man, he's just mad because he lost. He's mad because he ain't on top. That's what it is. He's mad because he's not main event in the Tokyo Dome 5, 6, 7, 8, 13 years in a row. Yeah, he is one of the best wrestlers of all time. But he's upset, so he's going to start talking smack and then try to downplay the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Sorry, I love you, Okada, but is that...
I don't know. This interview felt to me that this is like Okada maybe showing a side of his character to where he sees the championship as meaningless now because it's become nothing more than a tug of war between two factions. And yeah, it could be to more of, yeah, I'm not in the center, so I'm being a selfish prick here. But this could just be Okada actually forming a character that wants him to be center stage to where he's going to want to bring chaos back involved into this little tug of war to be like, oh, Los Ingobernables want to get the top spot. Oh, Bullet Club's reemerging. No, let's not forget about chaos here because, like what you guys said, I main evented Tokyo Dome for, 10, 12, 13 years. I don't know how long I've been involved. I've had the longest reign of the IWGP belt, and I've had 6, 7, 8, 10-star matches. But at the same time, it means jack shit when you got to bring in Bullet Club now that they got a new leader in Evil, or now that Naito, who was double belted, can't hold it for one damn pay-per-view. They could just be him trying to I don't mean heel, but show heelish tendencies to where that belt is meaningless unless it's on my shoulders.
Jacob, you can talk.
I'm gonna say,
I don't follow New Japan close enough to have an opinion. So,
and this is the last
week. From what I read, it's just complaining. That's what it sounds like. But what Ryan said makes sense.
Villain,
I don't follow New Japan close enough either to really add anything.
Villain, I know.
Did he go yet? The Villain, did you go yet?
No, I want to hear this.
Not yet.
I know. I'm ready to hear Villain. I know he watches New Japan.
I like this. This is the new side. Oh shit! I got my own screen. Oh damn! Hey everybody, it's your boy. All right. Anyway, I like this side of Okada, because he has some valid points, and it seems like it's a different take for him because usually he's a little more humble. He's confident as shit because he's one of the greatest of all time. But this time, it seems like he might have a little edge to him, saying like, yeah, you're trying to build other people up. You disrespected the heavyweight title, the one that I won plenty of times. I've had 5-star, 6-star matches with this title, and now you kind of treating it as a joke. Maybe that's why he's kind of upset about that. I don't know if he's going to bring his whole clique into it because I know New Japan, Ryan had a good point about factions, but I think right now the two major factions that they're going to do is Los Ingobernables and maybe Bullet Club. And that's why he's saying like, oh, okay, maybe you taking a step back from the heavyweight title to focus on factions. When this title, when I had it, ain't nobody going to win the, 2 different belts and then win a cup and then drop the 2 belts at the same time. That's why I respected what we talked about earlier with Keith Lee. Like even like it's already said, it's written. Ultimate Warrior showed us this. When you win the heavyweight title, you drop the Intercontinental title because it makes no sense of you being on your back, losing the Intercontinental title, and then still being the heavyweight title. Jacob said that, oh, maybe Keith Lee, should have did some stuff and they had a match, where one title. It's like, no, that don't make no sense. When you're the top dog, how are you going to lose a match for the Intercontinental title but still be walking around with the heavyweight title? When it's like, no, so I think he might be talking shit because he wants to see, what they're going to do, for the next year with this, with what's going on with Evil being the heavyweight champion, defecting from his team, joining the Bullet Club. That's right now it's, 25%. They got some new people in. We don't have the whole roster there. And, they're doing what he's doing. But I appreciate what he said. He's talking shit because he has the right to talk shit, and that's how we do here every Thursday night on Suplex City. When we got to talk the shit, we have the confidence, and we talk that shit. That's what Okada did. Rainmaker, son.
Whoa. I hearing that, I have a completely different appreciation for what he said. Now that you guys have kind of said that, at first I read it and I was like, he's just trying to be a cocky dick. But now that you say it, he's like, I'm going to be the big heel right now. Look at me. I like that now. See, that's what I like about here on our Suplex City chats is that we all may have different opinions. But, when we start talking, we, even if, you say something stupid, you're not going to get called out for it. We can talk this shit out.
Yeah.
And
pretty much, I was gonna say, Matt, it's pretty much like we all just have like one side of like it's like a freaking art painting. We only see what we want to see, what we interpret out of it. But when we get other opinions, we start to grasp the whole meaning behind it. Like I look at something from Vincent Van Gogh, I can go, oh, it's just some dude painting the fields. And then someone can walk around and go, oh no, this is one guy's view of the world and the view within it. And then it just goes, oh, well, that's just shit. He's terrible at painting. So many opinions going into a piece of art. So that's what I see with wrestling, or with something like what Okada did. You saw somebody just talking shit. Haven and myself saw a dude who has been the top of the card, who's been the man of New Japan for years, now seeing a belt that he has proudly defended turned into nothing but a side piece between a war of factions. So sorry if that little tirade distracted you guys, but it's kind of like just my analogy in this whole situation.
Bro, you guys make a good point. I didn't even think about the fact that it was a work shoot. So, I mean, hey,
maybe he is. Maybe he is.
It's different. It is different. It's different. Okada as a heel.
I kind of like that idea. He could be vicious as hell. All right, guys. Last segment of the night. Matches and moments of the week. I'm going to go first. Mine, I asked everybody to pick something that they saw in wrestling this week. And I don't mean, and I'm keeping an eye on all you fuckers. I just, I got my eye on all of y'all, but yeah, I know we already went there. Mine was the Falls Count Anywhere match between Butcher and the Blade and the Bucks. And I liked the way that they started that, where they just came in, And Butcher and Blade, they were just cutting meat and shit. They were actually explain the white costume. Like, I like that idea that they actually showed them in aprons and they were working. And the Bucks came in and went, "We're gonna fight right now." And then they fought everywhere. Like, there was a spot that I thought was funny as hell where they super kicked the shit out of Blade and he just rides the escalator up. Like, there were so many spots in this match that were great. Like, and it really put over Butcher and Blade as contenders. They may have lost, but they got theirs. Somebody talk about a match.
I'm that. I can do it.
No. Go ahead, brother.
No.
I will.
Okay.
Homie, Jim,
whether me or villain.
Jam that jam, yo.
But yeah, mine is just it's more of a spot. It's one spot. It's inside of a match. I think it's when I was getting my food stuff ready. I don't know if you guys talked about it yet, but it was the NXT triple threat match to determine who's going to go on to the ladder match. And what was his Bronson Reed versus Roddy and Johnny. I'm going to talk. I guess there's two moments. One was a comedy moment that I thought was funny, and then another moment was a spot. So I guess since it's in the same match, it kind of is cool. I liked how Roddy and Johnny at the beginning went out of the ring, and they were like, "He's big. Let's team up." He's like, "We're gonna go in the ring," and then he's like, "All right, 1, 2, 3," and then they both stopped. And was like, "I knew you were gonna do that." I laughed. They got me. And then the spot I want to talk about is how the hell did Bronson Reed take a poison Rana? That was just insane. And he did. He took that bump like he was 160 pounds. So yeah, that was and he got the big that poison Rana was the big spot for me.
I'll go. My moment. I love the fact that Cesaro is a champion again. Cesaro is one of my guys. I love his in-ring work. If you watch him on Up, Up, Down, Down, you'll know that he can be funny and he can be entertaining. And I love the fact that during their Uno game this week, he taunted Woods with the tag belt. That was great. So the fact that Cesaro and Shinsuke are tag team champions again was definitely a high of the week for me in the wrestling world. And not to mention the match was great too.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in. My moment of the week. My moment of the week is the AEW big men. I've been critical to the whole division when it comes to the big men, but this week seems like it is turning the corner. From Brian Cage, we're seeing him still involved with Jon Moxley, Darby Allin. Ricky Starks is in there, so that's pretty cool for that big man after he got a loss that I thought was kind of going to end his career. And then we had Brody Lee coming out, after the match with Hangman Page. He tried to, he talked. This is the first time we heard him talk, on TV without dropping F-bombs like he does on D&D Elite. Like that shit is like he had to, but when we had Hangman Page say the cult word, a lot of that stuff was interesting. I don't want to talk way too much, but yeah, that was interesting. Colt Cabana came out, left with him, then we seen, FTR come in, we seen Kenny Omega show up late to the party, and kind of, so that's really big time, so Brody Lee, for being a big man. I thought, okay, now I see some stuff developing, and I really enjoyed that. And then we had Lance Archer, another guy I've been really hard on. This was one of the only kind of backstage promos, some stuff you might have not known if it was live or taped, but this was bonkers as shit. You seen people flying, you seen them throwing bodies left and right. And I thought, he went, yeah. Seen throwing bodies left and right and north and south. This motherfucker threw somebody up in the air. And he down with the ceiling. The snake was talking. It's like, AEW this week turned a corner with me with big men. So I just want to big up that. All three big men, including Luchasaurus, another big guy. We've seen him shine in the tag team match in the main event, and we're going to see him in the 5-way match, or excuse me, a 10-man match next week. So this week, to me, the moment of the week was the AEW was turning the corner on the big men. All four big men that they have there had a little shine this week, on some low-key shit. So I was like, oh, whoa, like, okay, I'm interested next week. This was the moment of the week for me.
Nice. How come nobody's talking about how Lance Archer is heroically saving us from all the spud bots? I mean, did anyone else think all those guys look like Drake Maverick?
The one who went through the ceiling did.
I mean, it's evil clones. He's protecting us. No, my moment of the week was a match that normally would have gotten a lot of attention and probably will just on DVRs, but Cross versus Dijakovic, and especially the ending. I think I heard a lot of complaints in the ether that Dijakovic got too much offense in. No, the guy was contending for 2 titles last week. He's a big guy. He's probably going to Raw. He's supposed to be a real deal, a tough guy. And Cross is being built as a legit tough guy monster, not a monster. We already have The Fiend. The era of The Undertaker, I think, is sort of ending. There's no more Goldbergs who are going to be undefeated for 2 years. And people still complain about the way they finally lost with the taser and all that. I thought this was fine. Dijakovic got his clock clean because Cross kicked the metal steps into his head. I don't know that I've seen that exactly before. And all right, Dijakovic wasn't the greatest actor with the don't call it. That could have used a little bit of work, but I still thought drama was there. Keith Lee, you could see it on his face. He is gigantic. He's just a Hulk. And Cross looks like a killer. I love the whole thing with Scarlett. I love the outfit with the Catwoman claws and the smoke. And I thought that was built perfectly. And I just thought that was perfect. I don't think they're rushing it. I hope that it's a long brew feud. The title doesn't change, or if it does, it gets hot potatoed a few times between the two guys. I want to see Keith Lee have a nice reign before he gets elevated. But that was it. I thought that stare down, and I thought the whole thing was good, and it protected everyone. I thought everybody came out of that looking okay.
Since you can't hear me.
TUOC.
You break in and out, man. Okay, I'll go with me. My moment, or at least match, my segment is pretty much a continuation of what I was talking about with Impact, and that is the tag team match between the North and the Motor Machine Guns. Now, Motor Machine Guns, as what Jacob had touched on, it's the
sorry, brother, it's the Motor City Machine Guns. Us Michigan boys got to stick together and keep you correct there, my brother.
Well, I'm just trying to talk here. I didn't want to.
I'm just being funny.
No, it's fun. The Motor City Machine Guns. With the Machine Guns, though, having them make their return at Slammiversary. Now, in most all honesty, them immediately getting the title shot against the North would definitely be some big flags. But this match here was fantastic, as you see with the Machine Guns. I mean, it's been 10 years since they've been back at Impact. While Sabin and Shelley, they've been wrestling at different companies, either together or in singles competition. But one thing that did show from their match from Slammiversary to now, they definitely have not lost a beat with each other. That chemistry between them that we saw in the old days of TNA is still there. From them working together on with their quick tags, them being able to, not just telegraph, but be able to set each other up for moves. Like when we saw whenever the North wanted to keep grounding them, holding them to the ground to prevent them to high fly, Sabin and Shelley knew each other very well to where they had to immediately break up a count or stop a submission hold in order to make sure they kept that agility going. And either if it was a top rope plancha or them taking small advantages of doing super kicks or just attacking Paige or Alexander whenever the ref was whenever the ref was occupied, showed that Sabin and Shelley were there because they meant business. But this does not take away from Paige and Alexander. Those men had shown, those men had a huge tall order amongst them, because on the 9th anniversary, they defended their championships against the team of Shamrock and Sami Callihan. And then even before that, they defended their championships the night before Summerversary. So the North have proven throughout their entire reign of these men that they are a legit tag team. So one can argue that with the Machine Guns winning, there is a lot of space for the North to regain, because, as I mentioned, the North had defended their belts on 2 separate occasions within nights of each other. So the North can argue and say that, oh, we were exhausted because we kept defending those belts back to back in one night or 2 nights. And even then, with the Mortal Machine Guns, the way they won, they didn't win with no finishers. Like, they didn't do I forgot what their finisher is, but they didn't do like their solid team finisher that made them famous. They won with a simple small package. And the way it was won, it was that Sabin did a small package on Paige, while Shelley was holding down Alexander to make sure he didn't break it up. So there is a lot of room here to show that these men are going to fight each other down the road. But even then, this was a great match where the Machine Guns were showing more technical sides of each other than their straight high-flying style, where there was at one point in the match where Sabin had gotten a Texas Cloverleaf onto Alexander and Shelley had gotten a crossface onto Paige. To me, that gave me some vibes of, of the Revival and DIY, to where we thought we could have gotten a double submission, but they executed perfectly to where Paige had reversed it into a pin to where Sabin had to break it up. So it was showing that these teams, they can tell a story in the ring while also showing their prowess as a tag team. And one thing's for sure, Slammiversary and this show, actually the few weeks whenever I got to watch Impact and this week has got me back on Impact again. I'm definitely going to try to make an effort to watch more of their programming, even if I have to catch it a day afterward. I got to catch the highlights.
All right. So I think that's pretty much all we had to cover this week, guys. Jacob, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Well, they can find me here every Thursday. You can catch me over at Nerd Entertainment Network, where I compete in the CWT. And if you really want to, you can look me up on Facebook. But that's not as fun.
JB3, since you're back, homie, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me in the same spots as that guy said. Nerd Entertainment Network. I'm the commissioner of CWT, and then right here. Also,
all right.
But yeah.
All righty. Mr. Villain, how about you?
Well, you can find me not talking about Raw, because none of us talked about Raw tonight, because obviously Raw sucked ass, because none of us mentioned it in the fucking hour and a half we've been up here. Holy shit, Raw. Step your fucking.
Bro, we didn't even talk about Raw.
Hey,
I'm
not complaining. I'm just saying facts. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying facts. Raw, step your fucking game up if you want all of us to talk about your ass. Well, of course, you can find me here every Thursday. Honored to be here with my boy Matty G. At night he texts me sweet nothings, and I show him pictures. I send him pictures of us, and of course you can find me on Facebook at Jack of All Trivia. That's how you get into the league that I'm in. We just had a team title match go down tonight, so that was pretty historic. And of course you can find me on YouTube at Jack of All Trivia. So that's where I'll be, brother.
Right on.
That's right. All right. Maybe you can find me here again after this week's debacle with my technical issues. If you can, just tune in next Thursday. It's a teaser. Maybe you'll see me, maybe you won't. You can also find me on the Solid Monster Sounds Off Facebook page. Come and join the show. A lot of fun there. We do talk about Raw. It's not all positive, but we talk about Raw. You can also find me on Twitter, Icarus, Fell MD, again, as in Maryland. Also, look for a podcast, me and Shaheen from Wrestling Overdose and Nuclear Heat Graphics. We just recorded our first podcast together a few days ago. It's going to be called Garden of Doom. We're still going through the Apple approval, so should be out in 7 to 10 days. And then after that, my understanding is once you're approved, it's more immediate. But looking to do this weekly, so Garden of Doom, look it up. Hopefully it's good. If it sucks, tell us what sucks, and we'll try to do better.
Cassidy, hit it, brother.
Okay. Well, like with everybody here on this panel, you guys can find me here on Suplex City Chats every Thursdays. I might get here on time or I might be late. You know, that doesn't matter. We're here to talk wrestling, and that's all we're going to do no matter what time it starts. You guys can also find me on TMG Trivia, running a division called Franchise Wars, where we take a movie franchise and we're going to build a mini round robin tournament around this movie. And we're just going to give you nothing but questions and fun trivia regarding your favorite franchise. That would be Star Wars, Terminator, Back to the Future, The Matrix, you know, Scream, whatever franchise we can find. And if people you do love trivia and you are a fan of the movie Trivia Schmodown, coming soon, I'm going to be starting a Schmodown, pretty much like an after show or a Schmodown talk podcast, or a video format on the Schmodown called The Mount Schmodown with a few other movie Trivia Schmodown fans. We're hoping to get this going most likely by the end of August. So I'll keep hyping this thing up every time you see me on Suplex City Chat, so then we can get some of your beautiful faces over to watch our show.
All right, and I'm Matty G. You can find me at Facebook at Matt Graham. You can also find me going up against Matt Cutler pretty soon over at CWT. Maybe one of us will get a win. You can also find me and my Viking Raider brother over at Jack of All Trivia. Also, you can find D's Nuts over at Titan Trivia. That's myself and Grant Gregory.
Wait, what did you say, Matt?
You could suck D's nuts.
No, after that. You mentioned the name that should not be named.
Grant Gregory?
No, you said Titan, dude. It's TMG.
No, I said TMG Trivia. I choked on the trivia part, but I did say TMG.
Okay, I'm making sure. It's a new day.
Oh, and Ryan will not be here next week.
Don't worry. I need to practice on my Orange Cassidy gimmick.
Anyways, and then you can find me right here. I also host on Saturday nights After Dark. This week we're having After Dark Takeover. We're having the man, the myth, the legend, the leader of the faction known as the Dungeon, John Kaiser himself, hanging out with us. So keep an eye out for that this Saturday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. Fuck you, Heyman. This is my show. All right, guys. But for real, for everybody on the panel, this was another Suplex City Chats. And there's the bell.